Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy, and if you're new to my channel, kindly subscribe, share and like my videos, and also put on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new tutorials. This is a requested tutorial, so in today's class I'll be showing you how to make a simple blouse. The width of the fabric I used in making this blouse is 1.5 yards, and the length of the fabric is 60 inches. So let's get started. These are the essential measurements I'll be working with. So I have the shoulder measurements, the bust circumference, the waist circumference, the half length, the hip circumference, the armhole of the top, and the full length of the top. For this blouse, I'll be folding the fabric into two equally. And I'll further fold the fabric into two equally. So I practically folded this fabric into four. This simply means that after making my markings and cutting out the blouse, I'll be having both the front piece and the back piece of the blouse at once. The first step is to mark the starting line. So because there is a center line on both the front piece and the back piece, this simply means that I'll be marking ½ inch from the fold as shown. So this ½ inch will represent the center line, which is at the center front of the blouse and center back of the blouse. Now all horizontal measurements will be started from this line. The next step is to mark the neck measurements. Now I'll place my tape horizontally on the starting line to mark a neck width of 3.5 inches. And the neck depth I'll be working with is 5 inches. Now I'll connect both points together to form a curved neckline. And because this fabric is folded into four, I should be having both the front piece and the back piece. Now I need to mark the neck depth for the back piece. The neck depth for the back piece is 1.5 inches. To connect the neck depth to the neck width as shown. So this is the neck depth for the back piece and this is the neck depth for the front piece. Now to get the slant shoulder, I'll divide the shoulder measurement by 2. The shoulder measurement divided by 2 is 7.5 inches plus ½ inch sewing allowance, which will make it 8 inches. And on this 8 inches point, I'll mark 1 inch below that point to connect it to the neck width as shown. And this will be the slant shoulder. To get the armhole line, I'll place my tape on the tip of the shoulder slope to mark the armhole divided by 2. Our armhole divided by 2 is 9 inches. Now I'll connect these 2 points together. Now I'll extend this point horizontally, and this line is going to be the bust line. To get the armhole curve, I'll place my tape on the armhole line to mark the midpoint and to connect the midpoint to the bust line in form of a curve. After this, I'll place my tape from the starting line to mark the waistline. The waistline is 16 inches. The next line is the full length of the blouse. The full length of the blouse is 26 inches. I added 1.5 inches sewing allowance to the hem, which made it 27.5 inches. Now the next step is to place all horizontal measurements. On the bust line, I'll place the bust circumference divided by 4. Please take note that all horizontal measurements are starting from that ½ inch I marked on the center fold, plus 2.5 inches sewing allowance to the side so the top isn't fitted. On the waistline, I'll place the waist circumference divided by 4, plus 2.5 inches sewing allowance to the side, and to connect that point to the bust point. On the hemline, I'll place the hip circumference divided by 4, plus 2.5 inches sewing allowance to the side to connect the hip points to the waist point as shown. Before cutting out, I'll be adding 1/2 inch sewing allowance to the top of the shoulder slope, in which I'll be using to attach both the shoulder of the front piece and the back piece together. The next step is to slit both the center front of the back piece and the front piece. Kindly pay attention to how these pieces are going to be separated. This first part is for one side of the center front. Now I'm going to lift 2 pieces of this fabric, and the last one below these 2 pieces is the other side of the center front, while this 2 piece which was on the center is for the back piece of the top. So let's keep working on the back piece. Now on the back piece, we need to make a slit so that you can easily wear this top based on the kind of neckline we are working with. Now I placed my tape from the neck depth, which is on the center foot, vertically to mark 6 inches, and horizontally I'll be marking 1/2 inch. This 1/2 inch is very essential to avoid little sewing mistakes. Now I'll place my tape on this upper part to mark 1 inch and to connect it to this 1/2 inch I marked. You can see that I'm going to be connecting it to the edge of the 1/2 inch. So the essence of that 1/2 inch I marked is just for the seam allowance, which will be at the center back. But if I didn't mark it this way, you'll be having difficulties when you're about to attach the facing to the back piece of the neck slit as shown. Now I'll take this back piece to the sewing machine to secure the center fold by 1/2 inch. After securing the center fold, obviously I also weaved the edges of the seam. The next step is to make sure that you make straight stitches in the center line. And how do we do that? All you have to do is to make sure that the side seam is facing opposite direction before making the stitches. For instance, this side seam should be facing this side of the back piece. Then you make a stitch starting from the neck slit down to the hem as shown. And for the other side, make sure that this other side seam is facing this opposite direction so that you can make a straight stitch directly on it as shown. After making the stitches, this is how it should be. The next step is to fold the back piece into 2 equally. Now I need to cut a facing for the neck slit. And to achieve this, I need little pieces of this same fabric. I folded it into 2 and I placed the neck slit of the back piece on it to cut out. The next step is to open the back piece as shown. So place the right side of the facing on the right side of the neck slit as shown. Before attaching the facing to the back piece, you need to make a button loop. The length of the fabric you should be using for the loop is 4 inches, while the wideness should be 1.5 inches. Now I'll fold both edges of the fabric and then further fold it together. Take this to the sewing machine to make a straight stitch. The next step is to fold the loop into two and then place it in between the facing and the neck line of the back piece as shown, making sure that it's 1 inch below the neck depth. Now I'll secure this with the sewing machine. Alright, we've attached the facing to the neck slit of the back piece as shown. The next step is to work on the front piece. For the front piece of this blouse, I'll place both pieces on each other to cut out the neckline of the front piece. Now I'll take this to the sewing machine to secure the center line by ½ inch. After securing the center of the front piece, I weaved both edges of the side seam, and the next step is to face the edges of the side seam opposite direction so that you can take this to the sewing machine to make a straight stitch directly on the front piece down to the hem, and to also face the other facing on the other side to make a straight stitch from the neckline down to the hem. The next step is to place the back piece on the front piece to secure the shoulder slope by ½ inch. The next step is to secure the sides of the blouse by 1 inch. After securing the sides, you should turn the blouse to the right side of the fabric. Now, to make the sleeve, you need to take the measurements of the armhole circumference. The measurement of the armhole circumference is 11 inches. And for the sleeve, I'll be folding the fabric into two, and I'll further fold the fabric into two. So I practically folded it into 4. So after cutting the sleeve, I will be having 2 sleeves. The first step is to mark the starting line of the sleeve. I'll place my tip vertically to mark the cap sleeve, which is 4 inches. And the full length of the sleeve is 12 inches. I will add about 1.5 inches sewing allowance to the hem, and that will be 13.5 inches. So on the cap sleeve line, I'll place that armhole measurement I took on the blouse, which is 11 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance to the side, to connect this point to the tip of the starting line, and this will form a slant line. The next step is to mark the midpoint of this slant line. Now I'll connect this midpoint ½ inch above the slant line to meet the tip of the starting line, and ½ inch below the slant line to meet the side of the cap sleeve line. On the hem line of the sleeve, I'll place the round sleeve measurements divided by 2, which is 6 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance to that. That will be 7 inches to connect the 2 points together. And because it's a single fabric without a lining, I marked ½ inch beside the hem measurement to connect it in form of a triangle. The next step is to cut the sleeve out. Now I'll take both sleeves to the sewing machine to secure the hem by folding it in. After I secured the hem, I folded the sleeve into two to secure the side of the sleeve by 1 inch. Now repeat the same sewing process for the second sleeve. Now I've secured both sides of the sleeve and I turned the sleeve to the right side of the fabric. The next step is to attach the sleeve to the armhole of the top by ½ inch. Alright, I've attached the sleeve to the blouse. The next step is to secure the hem of the blouse by folding it in ½ inch and further folding it in by ½ inch all through. The next step is to secure the neckline using a strap. So I cut out a strap from this fabric with a wideness of 1.5 inches. To make this sewing neat, you need to fold this edge in by ½ inch, then you further fold the strap into two. Now I will place the edge of the strap on one side of the neck slit, which is at the center of the back piece, and to secure it all through. And when I get to this end, I'll also fold the edge of the strap in by ½ inch, then further fold it into two as shown. So I'll take this to the sewing machine so you understand what I'm trying to explain. So this is one side of the neck slit, which is at the center back of the blouse. Now I folded this side of the strap in by ½ inch and I folded the strap into two equally to place it directly on the beginning of the slit, which is at the center back, to secure the strap all through the neckline by ½ inch. And when you get to the other end of the neck slit, make sure that you fold the edge of the strap in by ½ inch before folding it into two. Exactly the way we started the sewing of the strap. And if you realize that the strap is too long, you can just trim it out before folding it. Then you secure the end of the strap as shown. After doing this, the next step is to fold the strap to the wrong side of the neckline as shown. Alright guys, so I've secured the neckline and this is the final outcome. You can also tack the facing or use a hemming gum to glue the facing so it doesn't come out. Then at this point, you are going to tack your button so you can easily fix it to the loop as shown. Alright guys, thanks for watching to the very end. This is the final outcome of this blouse, and I also made a detachable belt. But if you also want to make a belt hole at the side, make sure you are placing the belt hole at the side of the seam. And to know the exact measurements you'll be working with, you just use your half length measurement plus 1 inches. For instance, the half length measurement is 16 inches. You add 1 inch to that, that will be 17 inches. So you should tack the belt hole on 17 inches. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. If you are new to my channel, kindly subscribe, share and like my videos, and also put on your notification bell to be notified when I upload new tutorials. Bye.